Hi, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Last week I spoke about diet, exercise, and attitudes, and I mentioned a little bit about children and being interested in what your children are eating from a young age, right? And how you shouldn't just overlook some things. Today I want to actually kind of like talk on that a little bit more. You see, if you haven't watched the video last week, check it out here and you get to understand the perspective I had on that first of all. In other words, your diet is an important factor of your life. What you eat is what you become. So now I'm talking about children now. Your kids, meal plans, your kids, what they want versus what is good for them, right? What they want versus what they need. You see, without knowing it, or without saying rather, the nutritionist for your children is actually you. You are the nutritionist for your kids. So the level of knowledge that you apply, the amount of wisdom that you deploy will determine the outcome, right? What kind of nutrition your children will be getting. And it's a very serious concern. So there's a temptation in this aspect, especially for parents that have a lot of resources, to grant the wishes of their children. Because here are children all the time, always asking, always requesting, always desiring, oh, mommy, I want ice cream, mommy, I want pizza, mommy, I want this, mommy, I want that. Can I have Chapman every meal? Can I have Chapman with every meal? Blah, blah, blah. These are the things that happen. And especially for, like I said, parents that have a lot of resources who can afford this lifestyle, they want to kind of like grant their children's wishes all the time. Oh, I want to make my children happy, so you just give them what they want. But remember, these people are in a developmental stage, and you must be concerned about the fact that they need to get nutrition, not just food. So food for them now is beyond just filling their stomachs and being full, or having sweet things in their mouth and being satisfied. But it's actually what is building them up. And the kind of diet that they have will determine whether they grow up healthy, whether they mature properly, whether their organs grow properly. So many things are rooted into this. So you need to understand this seriously. Then also their health. Like I mentioned last week, obesity is a common problem in this day and age because of the lack of activity and because of diet for a lot of children. And primarily diet, you see. In this day and age, more than ever before, children are exposed to an abundance of unhealthy foods, an abundance of foods full of sugar, an abundance of foods that are just full of carbohydrates that will just load them up and do nothing much for them. In other words, a lot of empty calories in a lot of meals these days. Fast food has never ever been this successful. We are also busy. You can order food online, just click of a button, food is delivered to your house, etc., etc. So there's the temptation, like I said, out there. So the question always comes to what they want versus what they need. So as a parent, you need to learn to be pretty strict with what your children are getting. This brings me to a memory when I was a child, between the ages of 7 and 8. For some reason, we stayed in a five-star hotel called Echo Holiday Inn back then. It's now called Echo Hotels. And we were exposed to, of course, it was a child's paradise. We were exposed to all kinds of buffets, right? There was breakfast, lunch, dinner, there were all kinds of meals available, and we had free access to all these things. And then it was a child's paradise, like I said, but it was also like a nightmare for my dad and mom, I remember, because they were always very concerned about what we were choosing. Because a lot of times they couldn't follow us. They were busy with their own schedule. We were busy with school, and then we'll go to the restaurant ourselves and eat and go. So they were concerned about what we used to eat. So I remember that on Saturdays was like Saturdays and Sundays were like the days that my mom would follow us to eat, and she will insist that we eat beans and plantain then. On Sundays that we have cauliflower with our rice and things like that. And back then it was like, why is this woman like this? Oh, mommy, can I have some bacon and shortbread? She would say, no, eat beans. It used to be something that we used to crack and laugh about back then. But now, I'm the same person now, 30 something years later, who doesn't have bacon in his house anymore. Now has the beans in the house, now has the plantain in the house, now has the cauliflower in the house. So I've by myself chosen those things back. You see, after learning the hard way that you don't play with those things for your life. So at the end of the day, what am I trying to put out there? Your children are making choices every day, whether you like it or not, and these choices are going to land them into feeding habits that can either be detrimental or beneficial to their lives. So as the parent, you need to ensure that you are putting your eye in this thing and that you're not actually unconsciously responsible for actually leading them on in the direction that they shouldn't be going, by granting them their wishes every time that they make requests, or by making things available in abundance, things that are not healthy available in abundance. So am I actually trying to say here now that children should now not quote unquote enjoy their life. They should just be eating salads only and eating, brown rice, eating green, eating pro-healthy foods all the time. No, I'm not saying that they can't have fun. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to understand that the major issue is not really that they eat these things once in a while, but it's what they eat daily. What is their daily driving? What is their meal plan? What is their meal plan? Are you exposing your children to a balanced diet meal plan where they have a structured breakfast, structured lunch, structured dinner, and in every single day they have balanced protein, carbohydrates, vegetables, vitamins and minerals in abundance? Or are you just exposing them to quote unquote food? That is to say, or you can have ice cream, toast, and peanut butter for breakfast. You can have pizza for lunch. You can have sausages and indomie for dinner. And this is every single day. That's what I'm talking about. You need to ensure that daily they eat the right things. They eat the healthy food. These things are incorporated into their diet, and they are trained to see these things as good, and that they understand the orientation early. Back then there was a cartoon, Popeye, and Popeye, to be strong, he would take spinach and all of that. These were things that were put in the media to help us understand the importance of, your vegetables. So you need to do the same thing for your children. You need to make them understand why it's important that they have all these things so that they can see the outcomes that they want. And sooner or later, they will get used to it. Then every once in a while, you can have a treat. Every once in a while, when they go out, you can have a treat. So one thing you can do is reduce the amount of unhealthy food that is in the house. So if you can actually have a house that doesn't have soda, that would be excellent. Because if there's soda in the house, in the store, or in the fridge, trust me, you're not going to be the one controlling your children whether they take it or not. They are going to be taking it, with or without your knowledge. So you can't say, oh, I have soda in the house, I only give it to them on Sundays. No. If you have soda in the house, your children will find a way to get it, and they'll be taking it regularly. So one of the things that you can do is not to have some kind of things in the house. Reduce the processed things that are in the house. Once in a while, when you go out, you all can have some of that. You can have some ice cream outdoors, but you have a big bucket of ice cream. You have plenty buckets of ice cream in the freezer all the time, and this is all they eat on daily. Then you wonder why there's obesity in the house. No, it's because of the availability, the abundance of these things that are not exactly healthy. So if you limit the unhealthy things in the house, then you limit their access to these things, and you make them familiar with the things that are healthy, and they eat those things till they're satisfied and they're okay. And once in a while, when they go out, they can have snacks and all of that. And as time goes on, you train them and they understand why these things are so, and they have a healthy life. So remember, there's no benefit in being unhealthy. There's no benefit in being obese. It only leads into scenarios where someone can have health issues, and you don't want to be a parent that's responsible for your child being in that situation. Many people are battling with it right now as adults, and it's because they were brought up that way. Like I said, a lot of people, I know so many people who, growing up, that's how they were. They didn't know any other way. They never knew themselves to be fit, like I said. And now that they understand the importance of being healthy, or now that they even have health issues, it's a very, very big uphill task to actually get healthy again. So you can do this one step at a time by curbing some of these things from childhood, right? Ensuring that your children are given the right food, the right nutrients from the scratch, and that they have the right orientation to eating. So that's one thing that you can do for your children and for the next generation, and you'll be glad that you did. So thank you for coming. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe. Kindly share this with your friends. A lot of people are going through this right now, feeling that they just need to grant their children's wishes. Let's try to educate the world. Let's try to educate people to understand the importance of healthy eating for their children.